Hi. It's
Hi.
Hi. We are here today. My name is Rachel, as you know, and this is Tammy, and we are the co-creators of Rise Gatherings, and we are so excited to be joined here with our very new and exciting partnership with Days for Girls, and we are here with two of the leaders within that organization, Candace, who is the director of the US chapters, and Celeste, who is the founder and CEO of Days for Girls. So welcome and thank you for being here with us today.
Especially on International Women's Day.
Yes, thank you for having us. We're excited.
Yes, what a celebration of that day to be here. It was So we would love for this to be a time for you to share about your organization and to really help to create awareness and educate women within our community and beyond about Days for Girls and its initiatives. So
thank you.
Yes. So we would love to hear first how Days for Girls came to be.
It was a complete surprise. It was October of 2008 when we were working to solve issues of hunger in a very large orphanage that had grown to 1,400 after post-election violence in 2007 and 2008. And I was trying to answer the question of hunger and how to help them even survive. And then the question came, have you asked what they're doing for feminine hygiene? And I had never thought to ask that question even once. And then when I asked, I emailed and I got an immediate response, which you don't expect. Certainly back then, there wasn't Wi-Fi everywhere. And I got this immediate response that said, nothing, they wait in their rooms. Their rooms had 50 youth in them before it exploded to 1,400 children. So I trying to think how you possibly do that. And it turned out they would sit on a piece of cardboard for days. That's when I first recognized that this was even an issue. And when we really came to know how important it was when we actually did the first distribution of washable kits. And why washable? Well, to be honest, disposable was my first thought, but I knew if we were able to fundraise and send money for pads and they needed food, they would use it for food, not pads. So I didn't think about there's no place to throw them away, so it created a health and disposal issue and risk, but I did think of not being able to purchase pads again. And when we got there, the girls told us, thank you so much, because before you came, we had to let them use us if we wanted to leave the room. And I hope that didn't mean what I feared it meant. And later they confirmed they were being sexually exploited in exchange for a single disposable pad. And that's when Days for Girls was born.
Wow, thank you.
Thank you for doing what you do and taking that story and really doing something with it.
Yeah.
It's been an honor. Getting to do this wakes you up early in the morning and you can't stop because we get to see it making such a difference. And today, with all the news that's out there of things going wrong, it's so wonderful that this is something we can change. There are a lot of things that are hard to change, but this isn't one of them. We've reached 120 nations on 6 continents since that day, more than 1 million women and girls. And we can do better. We can do more. This is something we could change.
Wow. Can you speak for a minute about the model and how you're creating that change? How does Days for Girls work? How do you reach girls and women?
We do that in 2 ways. There are 2 arms of Days for Girls. One arm is what Candace does. So do you want to describe what chapters and teams do?
Yeah, so we have chapters and teams actually all over the world. The majority of them are in the United States, and it is composed of volunteers that come together and sew and put together and raise funds to get what is needed out into the world. We also have these teams and chapters in Australia and New Zealand and Canada and in the UK. And it's all done by volunteer work. And it's amazing to see these women come together.
And the other arm of what we do is we help women and men and communities make their own micro enterprise doing Days for Girls. So these are people who would do it for free. They're just really wanting to make sure their community has access to feminine care, and they also make sure they have access to education of women's health and women's safety, and they are able to make a living doing it and make sure that they're able to feed their family and send them to school. And it's pretty phenomenal. They are the way we'll reach the last mile.
So if people want to find a team, or if they want to see what the kits look like and learn more, they can go to your website.
Absolutely.
Yes.
daysforgirls.org.
.org.
Yes.
O-R-G.
Okay, great. So we started by asking you about how Days for Girls came to be with that original experience you had, and then you went right to how the reach that you have. But can you talk a little bit about how it's grown, both with your volunteers and, well, I don't want to speak for you. How's it?
Oh, it's been amazing. So imagine how surprising it's been layer by layer. First you find out this one group had this problem, and I would love to say that I then knew that it was everywhere, and I didn't. I would tell people about it and people would say, that's not true, that can't be real. And of course girls are using corn cobs and corn husks and leaves and cow dung and newspaper and cloth that's not so many things, but we learned that line by line as they shared, this is what's happening for us. And people would go to their community and say, is this really happening where you are? And then they would come back and say, we need 800 of these. And so we made all of that, we have open source so that people could have access to it and do it with us. We kept learning by failing forward, and by that I mean we've been through 28 versions of our Days for Girls kit because we listened to them. The first kits were white because sanitary things are white. But seriously, I like to say, raise your hand if you would put a white stained pad hanging in your front yard, right? And thankfully, we kept listening. And today, that pattern is patented. On January 30th, it was given a US patent. And that's the genius of all those we serve with and serve for, and together making sure that it's culturally, physically, and environmentally relevant. And that's such an exciting process to do it by honoring the wisdom of those we serve and serve with. That's, to me, as exciting as the actual thing we do is the process we do it in. And it's just grown organically as people have found out about it. And to us, this is a global team effort. And that's what it's shaped up to be.
And it's also amazing as you are telling people about this problem, and then the education that we teach along with every kit that goes out to these girls. It's amazing to watch the light bulb turn on people saying, this is a problem, and this is holding back girls all over the world. And so it's beautiful to watch that impact of just the knowledge spreading.
Yeah. And when I read about it, thinking about missed school, and how the ripple effect of how that affects a girl, not just the 5 days that she misses that month because she can't go to school, but that means maybe she won't even complete school. What
Right.
that means for her future, and then for her community, for her own children. It's something like a period supplies.
A basic,
that
needing
I just,
a basic
need. That I just run to the drugstore for.
Right. Yeah.
That changes a whole cycle of poverty. Because of education. I had never, until I read more about your organization, quite honestly, I really had never thought about that.
Yes, that was so much of why we wanted to partner with you guys too, because, as we asked, how has it grown? There's certain, you can measure a certain impact, but you can't necessarily measure the awareness and the education aspect. And if we weren't so aware of this, we know that there's so many women and men, there's so many people that also are not aware of this. And it's something that it's something, like I said, it's meeting a basic need. It's something that we take for granted because of our society and the way that we live. And that we haven't even given it thought to how other women are experiencing and dealing with their menstruation, and something that we're born with.
Another large part about Days for Girls, these kits are very, very important. These kits give the girls freedom to attend school. It gives the freedom to women to go to work. But we also teach them an education an extensive education of sex ed about self-defense, about a lot of women don't know that they can say no to a man, and that is something that is very enlightening to them, but we also give them a fighting chance to prevent being raped, and that is happening all over the place all the time. We talk to them about AIDS. We talk to them about human trafficking. We try to give an overall education so they can have not only the freedom but the power to be able to move forward. It's a beautiful impact that's happening all over.
Yes, that empowerment piece, that's what it is.
Yeah. And that door to a longer conversation. You can say you have the right to say no, and literally all over the planet they're like, we do. And we're talking young children not knowing that they have the right to say no. But it doesn't really shift until it's a conversation that we're free to have, to talk about, why do we have the right to say no? And is rape sex or is it violence? And in a lot of places they're ostracized because they were attacked. And so just being able to say, which is it? What do you think? And then leave it in their hands to take it from there. That's a shift maker. And that's the power of a conversation.
I can tell listening to you just that you've had experiences firsthand with the girls and the communities. I'm hearing their voices through you. It's so beautiful. Could you share with us an example of an experience that you've had when you're directly with these communities and the impact that you've seen?
Yes, I have seen them dance with their kids, hug their kids, sing to their kids. In one community, it was a deaf school, and the girls they're teenagers. So when they introduced us, and it was a long introduction, we were told this meant hi, and then they go, and they did that for each of us, and then they explained what we brought, and all the eyebrows went up, and they went, so it's a celebration. And they share with us things like one sharing that sometimes it's just that they can't sit down, that I'm not able to be with people because if I stand up, I'm going to have a stain. I can't go to class because when I went, when I went and had a stain, they've teased me and called me the girl with red drops ever since. And girls that have said that they were now able to go to school with confidence, that now or even just that one woman in Bangladesh, about 24, explained, I have never wanted to have a baby girl. I didn't want her to go through what I have gone through. And now I pray I will have one someday so that I can tell her she matters and she's beautiful and she can be safe. We've had girls tell us that they were, one instance, one of my favorites, is a young girl who took it upon herself to teach everybody in her school how to make Days for Girls kits and to teach them what she had learned. And when asked, how did you do that? That's amazing. How did you remember everything you were taught? How did you accomplish that? And how do you feel about that? Goetsu said, and she's 12, I've got a picture of her in a pink striped shirt, and she said, I am no longer an orphan. I am a leader of women. All over this world, we have people that understand their voice matters. And all over this world, I've seen people who were ostracized, who were kept outside of their community, who had sores. One girl in Zimbabwe had been using corn cobs and inserting them to keep menses from flowing. She came having heard about a distribution that happened days afterwards. And afterwards, she said, oh, please, I just need one so I can stay in school. I am very bright. I just want to go to school. And she had been so harmed by the infections that she had that she literally couldn't walk normally anymore because she had used things that had caused one after another of infection and left scarring. So sometimes it's extreme, and I could tell you even more difficult things, but sometimes it's just, I want to be able to be confident to sit in class, and now I can. And their stories are what keep us going every day. It's amazing that something so simple has such profound impact for them.
And I've sat across from a single mother as we've given her a kit with tears streaming down her face. And it makes me get a little emotional, but she just over and over again told us thank you, that now she can teach her girls that they do not have to sell their bodies to stay in school, that she can teach her girls the importance of having this education. And she now, her name is Maggie, she's a beautiful, beautiful woman from South Africa. She has now been certified to be one of our ambassadors, Women of Health, so she can spread this word all over. She's amazing, amazing.
And that's not even counting the women who have enterprises now. Their stories are phenomenal. It is such
so
a
many.
joy. Yeah.
We could make a whole hour video on that.
Well, we're hoping people that they want to go to your website, and your videos, I've watched them and wept, both tears of, pain for the shame and the suffering for the girls, but also really tears of joy for the empowerment. And that there's shame around periods everywhere. The very thing that makes us women, the very thing that produces life. And that you, and I know other, there's efforts all around the world to change that, to flip it. And the way that you're doing it with such empowerment on so many levels is in tears of joy. So, yes, we could talk for an hour, but I hope that people will learn more and then talk about it. Then talk about it at dinner tonight. Because that also lifts some of the stigma around talking about periods, to talk about it in this way with your sons and your daughters and your partners and your colleagues. Like, this is a very important topic that we hide the same way we hide our tampons in our bags,
Right.
Yeah. No more.
It's part of it. Now I could go off. So let's
same. I'm like, can you mind?
Sorry.
No,
Not sorry.
No, we're
I'm
so not
very,
sorry.
very
Never sorry.
invigorated by this topic.
Me
and
too.
We are thrilled to be partnering with you and to just share the information and hopefully inspire people to learn more and support. It only takes $10 to get a girl a kit, which is amazing. So
on that note,
on
that note, and after you've touched us so deeply, and everyone who's watched this, I'm feeling incredibly inspired to contribute in whatever way I can and we can by creating this partnership. But how can people best support this initiative?
There are so many ways to help. As many ways as there are women we reach, I think. But one way, of course, is to donate so that the women in the field and the women we're reaching can get these kits. And another way to help is to share your talents and do exactly what you said. Talk about periods. Without periods, there would be no people. What are we ashamed? Every one of us is connected to periods, right?
Here.
But we'd rather talk about diarrhea.
That's okay, but not menses.
Right. So talk about it and let's start celebrating periods and celebrating this amazing part of life and pass the word about Days for Girls and this partnership and that we can do this. We can do this. Absolutely. And when we first started this, no one was talking about it. And today more and more are. We can knock this out of the park. Let's be the global movement that shifts it. So we can say, once upon a time, that used to be, but it's not anymore. And also follow us on Facebook and on our social media. You'll see exciting campaigns. There's a brand new video coming out today. There are amazing things ahead. I would just encourage everyone, become part of this global movement. Join the family because we're doing this.
Go to our website.
We're a monthly family all around this planet.
But go to our website, daysforgirls.org, where you can donate. You can learn more about Days for Girls. We have videos, we have outreach programs. We have so much there, and you can find out many, many ways you can be involved.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Excellent. And you can go on risegatherings.com or go through our many channels of Rise to see how we are partnering and to contribute through there as well.
Great.
Thank you.
On that note, we also want to say that every woman that is coming to Rise Gatherings this coming May, and with every ticket purchased, you will be sponsoring one kit that provides menstrual care for a girl for 3 to 4 years, right?
Yay, absolutely. We actually, this isn't public because we want to over deliver, but we just had a report of our first kit lasting 5 years. How exciting is that?
Isn't that wonderful?
Not much last 5 years, so that's amazing.
Really?
Really? Really?
And we want to thank all of your participants in advance for helping us move this forward. It is a big deal. That $10, that changes a girl's life forever.
Mhm.
And together it can be way more than $10. So every contribution matters. $10 is, for us skipping something, but collectively what we can do, we can help a whole community, and that's what we want to do.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for your time on International Women's Day, and we honor
What a
you
joy.
and the light that you are for all of your volunteers, all your donors, and all the girls and women that you're touching every single day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I truly feel like to thank you, yes, for the difference you're making around the world. When I think about this as a global effort and that you are considerably impacting the world and women around the world, it just gets me real deep. So I want to thank you for all you do and all you've done and continue to do.
Thank you. We're so glad you're part of it.
Yes.
Yes,
You're part of our family.
We can do this.
You know what we say? Together we
Together we
rise.
rise.
Together we rise.
Yes,
That's right.
Thank you, everyone who listened to the full interview. We really appreciate you taking the time. We're all gonna have to leave the meeting for the recording to end. Otherwise, you'll stay on. Just to let
Okay.
So,
All right.
we all have to leave the meeting.
Thank you.
Got it.
Thanks so much.
Take care.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.